And then just yesterday, I actually decided that I'm going to go see if the people in Lydia were still there. You know, I know that Lydia had gotten a good bit of hurricane damage. And when my uncle and I had gone on our way to Silver Point, you know, I was so impressed with the lady. I didn't know who she was or anything. So yesterday I decided to go back and see if they were there. And I had actually, it had completely slipped my memory. I had started the Acadiana Seed Bank and CRIA and everything, and just realized just a couple of weeks ago, I said, man, it definitely all goes back to those people in Lydia. So I went and picked up my cousin yesterday, and we rode down there, and I had to go real slow and see if I recognized the house and look for the homegrown sign, but it wasn't there. And I stopped at some neighbors, and they were walking in, but I yelled at them, and they kept walking, see if they know who grows food around here. And it was right there behind me. I looked back, and I saw the greenhouse, or a piece of it, because the larger half had been devastated in one of the last hurricanes. And so I went to the door, and Mr. Lester Broussard answered. He said, can I help you? I said, yes, I had come back here 10 years ago, and I talked to a lady. It must have been your wife or your daughter. And he said, yeah, well, she's right here. That's Miss Margaret. And she came out, and they took us in. They showed us everything that they grow. And he's 75 years old, and they had about 3 acres in production, all by hand, except for their plow. He has an old mule plow, but he has it attached to a 4-wheeler. And so he drives, or she drives the 4-wheeler, and he walks the plow behind. I said, it stays up by itself? He said, no, it's just like a mule. You walk behind it. I said, man, that's good. So, and I definitely have to go back there and continue our interview with him, but he's already, you know, has taught us so much. He mulches all of his crops. He puts a good foot of mulch that he hand forks from his field. He goes and cuts it with his tractor, and then he loads it in the truck while his wife drives, 75 years old, and then stacks it up, composts some of it, and sticks the rest in the compost and puts all of it on his garden. Mulch is very important because it keeps your soil protected from the sun, protected from the rain, the wind. It keeps your soil moist, keeps the weeds down. So, you know, these things that he was practicing is very, very sustainable. And that's, you know, what we're going to focus on is the sustainability of it. But the Acadiana Seed Bank would not be possible. I mean, I did a little bit of college. I went into sustainable agriculture for a semester. I went to music to a semester, but I don't like school much, so I just decided to do it on my own. I play music, and I always wanted to grow food, but I got too busy with music, so I'm finally getting around to getting back into it. And I always used to keep a garden at my grandma's in high school, and then I'd go travel to play music, and the horses would break in and eat my garden. So I still have a couple things to learn. But actually, while I was playing music up in Wisconsin a couple years ago, I was taking a break on a bench, and I met a person who is here tonight, Miss Kristen Kordecki, and she ended up moving down to Louisiana and becoming our seed technician. So we were very fortunate, you know, to have the expertise of someone that used to run the germination operation at the Chicago Botanic Gardens Seed Bank, the Tallgrass Prairie Seed Bank. And it's a seed bank of not only prairie seeds, but a diversity of seeds. So I'm actually going to call Kristen Kordecki up, and she's going to explain to y'all seed-saving techniques. All
right. Hi, I'm Kristen. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about some of the technical aspects of saving seeds, and if you feel the necessity to shout out a question between Louie and myself and Ashley, who herself is becoming a great seed saver. Maybe we can answer some questions. If not, maybe after the program we'll be able to do that. Does everybody hear me okay? Okay. I'll try to get us through this pretty quick. First of all, I wanted to start with defining what the open pollinated flowers are, the open pollinated plants are, so that we start from a good baseline. If you want to go home, start your gardens, collect some seeds, participate in CRIA3. We're going to kind of give you some baseline information to do that with. So I wanted to first ask, how many people here garden in their backyards? Okay, that's quite a bit. How many of you are planting some heirloom seeds? Okay, that's a good amount. How many of you have received these heirloom seeds from your family? Okay. How many of you have purchased them from a seed store or maybe online? Okay. Okay, so we know that open pollinated seeds are ones that are pollinated by the wind, through animals, water sources. We will pollinate plants as well. These are all natural occurrences. And so we want open pollinated seeds to be the first thing you start with. We want you to know that they are true to their parents and they have the characteristics of both their parents and they're not genetically modified. So if you go to the store and you purchase seedlings or seeds, you're in general not going to be purchasing heirloom plants. That's an important place to start. So we know that heirloom plants maybe go as far back as 100 years. It's debatable. Some people say 50 years, maybe right around World War II. Are y'all familiar with the Victory Gardens? Yeah. Okay, so that's kind of the starting point that a lot of gardeners start with as being a definition for heirloom. We also know that quietly generations are passing these seeds down from family to family, and they're really the backbone of food sources in especially critical times. Really popular ones that you can buy online or at farmers markets, the Brandywine. And I came across this one that I think is so pertinent to right now, the mortgage lifter tomato. I need to get some of those. But apparently this man, he sold each of the seedlings for $1 a piece and was able to pay his mortgage off with it. I don't know the whole story, but I thought it was kind of cute and appropriate for this year. Heirlooms, as you probably know, are ugly. You have to love them for their taste. Heirloom tomatoes, that's what I'll focus on the most because I think we're most familiar with heirloom tomatoes. But generally, they're pretty ugly. You can see the eggplants here. They come in all these different variety of colors and sizes. They're knotty, they're craggy, but they're delicious. And that's why they kind of stay in the whole gardening lineage. They're not used commercially for a couple different reasons. They are knotty, they are craggy, they're irregular. They're kind of like each of us. They don't transport well, and they go to rot pretty easily. And so the companies that are doing big agribusiness can't afford to ship those. And so they quietly stay in our backyards. As Louis has talked about, they're adapted. They tend to be adapted to our local environments. They know how to resist some of the diseases and some of the insects. They can tolerate some of the humidity and the heat in certain regions better than others. So one of the things that makes this project so special and so unique is that the genetic diversity of our food source is dying out with our older generations. We know that when people pass, that there are things left behind and seeds are gonna go into the garbage or out in the back and not be cared for and nurtured for. And so Louis and Ashley's vision is one that really impressed me. They wanted to ensure that that history is preserved right alongside with the music and the language.